Are old emotions and unresolved issues haunting you? What if, instead of feeling stuck in a wash, rinse, repeat cycle, this energy is actually pushing you to break free from emotional triggers and step into new choices? The current astrology is revealing a huge energetic X in the sky. But this isn't about stopping, it's about evaluating, consciously shifting, and reclaiming your power. The next few weeks will test us as we confront what we've been avoiding. But this is our chance to transform our future. If you're ready for real change, join me as we crack the code on this powerful cosmic pause symbol together. Now here we go, folks. At 8:32 p.m. on Friday, October 11th, Pluto stations direct at 29 Capricorn. This begins a 5-ish week process of it moving through the final degree of Capricorn before it ingresses into Aquarius for the next 20 years. The next time we will see Pluto in Capricorn again is the year 2272. So in other words, unless you're planning on reincarnating a few times, you're not going to see this energy again. It's moving out. It's over. Let it go. So let's take a look of the chart at that quintessential moment, because this is a fuck ton of complex energy throughout October and well into Scorpio season. We're in it now already. So hold on tight and let's crack the code on the upcoming themes and lessons. Wow. Okay. This is quite a chart. First, we have two overlapping Grand Trine waters. Emo is very heavy. Centering yourself and grounding and nervous system regulation, very important. We will talk more about that. The minor Grand Trine between Uranus and Pluto pointing to Neptune and Pisces still holds as well, and now is joined by a friend that includes the moon at 4 Aquarius. Not one, but two yods, showing us key goals and how to approach them. And each directly intertwined to the star of this chart, a highly specific Cardinal Grand Cross involving Chiron in Aries, Mars in Cancer, Mercury in Libra, and Pluto in Capricorn. So I haven't talked too much about the energy classifications of the signs, which gives them a little more dimension aside from their ruling planets. The 12 signs fall into three classes: cardinal, fixed, and mutable, with one sign of each element in every classification. So Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn carry the energy of the cardinal signs. To simplify it, cardinal signs are agenda-setting initiators. In a way, they're the bosses in telling us what to do and getting us started in working on a theme. The fixed energy signs of Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius are like workhorses. They remain extremely focused on the agendas set by the cardinal signs. They can be rigid and a bit inflexible in their dedication to solving the problem set forth for them. And then there's the mutable signs, Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Pisces. They can often be the bridge between working diligently at an existing lesson and opening up the door for new ones. Mutable signs are flexible, open-minded, and adaptable. So consequently, they include the information gatherers, Gemini and Virgo, because changing the agenda often comes from and requires new information. So our Grand Cross in this chart is all in cardinal signs. As Pluto makes its final forward moves through the testing degree of Capricorn, we're being set up with a pretty distinct pattern of tension to promote our growth. This is essentially setting up the new agenda for the next 20 years of Pluto in Aquarius. The fact that we're seeing these challenging aspects of a Cardinal Grand Cross within the 2-week window that closes the last eclipse cycle of the nodes being in cardinal signs Aries and Libra is really purposeful. I think it's meant to keep us on track to solve a problem as the energy of the nodes shifts into mutable Pisces Virgo territory. But we'll jump back into the chart because perhaps it's going to show us why. So not going to lie, Grand Crosses aren't for the weak, and we will all be under the same sky. This aspect pattern creates stress and tension in 4 key life areas, making you feel sort of pulled in different directions. Now usually, to resolve the tension of a T-square, we look towards the release point on the other side of the apex. But in a Grand Cross, the release point of one is the apex to the other. So it can feel sort of trapping, like there's no escape. But I promise you, right here, right now, although uncomfortable, this is also extremely purposeful. As with all oppositions, it's balancing the pressure between crossed and opposing tensions that truly drives growth and pushes our evolution. So note that these planets are all at 20 degrees or higher in the third decan. So what we're looking at here is a collective pattern up for growth. But because I've already spent a lot of time on these episodes talking about 3 out of the 4 involved planetary placements, Pluto 29 Capricorn, Chiron in Aries, and Mars in Cancer, I want to try approaching this Grand Cross with maybe a touch less mathematicalness and a little more personal in how you may feel with these energies and what you can do to work with it. As much as I love the collective themes, and we will definitely still talk about them on the higher level, I think people really need some hand holding through this and how it may present on the individual level and what we can do to work and flow with it. These energies are pretty dense, and I would love to help every single person see how these aspects and transits are ultimately guiding you back to yourself. I can only summarize so much in these episodes, because we all have our own lessons and charts to integrate these energies in unique ways. But if you'd like one-on-one guidance or a more in-depth review of your chart and how you can personally flow with the energies, I'm still available for live sessions, and I have a few limited spaces left for full written or video chart reviews. Comment below, find me on Instagram, or visit my website, sunmoonrisingshop.com, to get in touch and to get you on the schedule. So now, as a quick high-level review of the aspects at play here, we have Chiron at 21 degrees Aries. This can present in your life with challenges around healing. Who you know yourself to be, what you stand for, and what you want are all up for transformation. It's especially highlighted in the areas of expanding your empowerment and bravery, especially around the belief in yourself, your identity, and collectively what it means to be human. Now, don't get it twisted. Chiron has a job to do in healing trauma patterns. This is specifically about transforming the collective beliefs through healing your own limiting beliefs on who you know yourself to be. Are we animals that fight each other to the top of the food chain? Or are we compassionate creatures who consciously choose to help each other? It's entirely our choice. We don't have to keep living in a dog-eat-dog world. The gift of this consciousness is that we have a choice, and it starts with our personal power and how we choose to define ourselves. Now, if all of that feels really hard right now, it's because it's squaring Mars 20 degrees Cancer, taking action around the protection of your emotions and that vulnerability that you feel about all of this. Mars is warrior energy, and warriors don't like to show their weaknesses. But Mars in Cancer, so it's about being taught a lesson on self-care. And as much as Mars probably wants to fight it, he also knows what a losing battle looks like. Pushing away your emotions and not tending to them, not caretaking oneself, that's a recipe for self-harm. Cancer is all about nurturing and prioritizing self-care. If Mars is compelled to take action and create structure, he gets to do it on behalf of his emotional well-being. This lesson is so damn important that not only will it continue to move through and be highlighted through aspects in the upcoming weeks, but in December, Mars will be in its retrograde cycle and ends up going all the way back to 17 Cancer. So it's going to be repeating almost half of its Cancer transit through the retrograde and then again with its forward movement. More on that when it gets here, but that specific retrograde occurs only like 2 weeks after Pluto ingresses into Aquarius. So the timing of that is really asking us to review our ambition and drive and if it aligns with our future forward vision. Now let me just pause a moment here because this is just so much emo going on in this chart. We have the moon at 4 Aquarius conjunct Pluto 29 Capricorn, which I think is really going to provide us some clues on where our emotions can help us solve problems. But more on that in a few. Because we also have these 2 grand trine waters at play involving Saturn and Neptune in Pisces, Venus in Scorpio, and Mars in Cancer. So not only is that a lot of emo energy, but it's a lot of direction about how we are not meant to get stuck in our emotions. Below the surface of tension of the Grand Cross, we have supportive flow. Now, there are so many ways that I see this playing out with people right now, including myself. The cheat code here is the concept of nervous system regulation. I'm getting a ton of early signs that the way we align ourselves with the big energies needed to build the visionary world of Pluto and Aquarius is going to be through nervous system awareness and regulation on a personal level. So no more pushing our feelings and dissociating when triggers and tensions arise. That's old energy. No more suffering alone in silence. Those habits are trying to be released. So if you're being tested on that right now, and it has been for me and so many people I connect with and read for, please know not only is this right on time, especially with Venus and Scorpio, but there is deep purpose in moving through this energy right now. There is light at the end of the tunnel. So, moving back to the Grand Cross, part of why we are being shown that specific lesson is to work through the tension between Chiron and Aries opposed Mercury at 27 Libra. The placement of Mercury at the Mars degree wants us to take action in order to find and receive mutual balance and harmony by using our voice and understanding of how we need each other in relationships and partnerships. So basically, if you've been keeping your mouth shut about something for too long, I'm definitely not telling you to lose your shit, but I am saying it's time to find your bravery and empowerment in pursuit of justice. Because we don't want to continue martyring ourselves for each other. We've talked about that plenty of times. You can watch my last episode for more on that. The trailing energy of the last Libra Aries eclipse is still materializing, and you're going to see those themes continue to play out as we move through these energies and ultimately into the nodal shift come January. But before we get there, we have to move through and address Pluto 29 Capricorn, our responsibility and accountability for our integrity and emotions. We owe it to ourselves to be mature and face what needs to be faced to restore balance in our lives. I'm not going to review this placement again because we've been talking about it at length for months and have essentially been living that energy since 2008. At this point, there's just so much scattered all over the chart that I'm just going to point it out every time it comes into play, which is often. In this configuration specifically, it's opposed Mars in Cancer, which is reminding us that bottling up emotions is not self-loving. We get to take action steps here to create the structure we want to build our lives from, and in no uncertain terms, that energy will not come from trauma patterns. It won't come from fear of facing what needs to be faced. It gets to come from the love and passion we have for ourselves, and the balance between our masculine and feminine energies. Now remember, it's a grand cross with opposing forces, one of which is Pluto 29 Capricorn in forward motion now, which can, well, that can sort of feel like a wrecking ball. There's no way around saying this, and there's no use in sugarcoating it, but for some, that authentic balance may come with hard decisions around the ending or transformation of relationships. Or at minimum, being really brave about bringing light to something that you've probably fought yourself to keep hidden. If you're one of those people and you needed a sign, I mean, it's all right here. Empowered healing of our relationships with emotions and vulnerability opposes communication and understanding of harmony and balance in the sign of justice and relationships. Be brave. Face what needs to be faced. Because we don't have to live like this. And if you're choosing to bury what you don't want to look at or feel, I know that you know that it's not only clouding your consciousness and activating your dorsal or sympathetic nervous system reactions, but it's essentially silently killing you from the inside out. And this can be a huge range of different issues: codependency patterns, people pleasing to maintain the status quo, hidden secrets. I mean, the writing is on the wall for all of that to come to light in this aspect pattern, especially with the yods pointing to Venus in Scorpio and Mercury in Libra at the same time. Like, whoa, there is some potential for volatility here for sure. But please know that this is temporary discomfort. This is the pain of rebirth. Now, I didn't even notice the odds when I first looked at this chart, but man, they are definitely impactful parts of this story. In keeping with the themes of excavating relationship issues, emotions, and things that remain hidden and buried, the points are Mercury 27 Libra and Venus 23 Scorpio. Now, that Mercury yod ties right into the impactful Neptune trine we've been talking about for weeks, because the base is the healing waters of Neptune 27 Pisces and the disruption potential of Uranus 26 Taurus, both of which are still retrograde. So in order to take action of, let's say, using the power of your voice and understanding to create more balance and harmony in your life, you get to look at the base in the minor grand trine, which of course pulls Pluto into the equation too. So we have Uranus now at 26 Taurus, ready to throw down an unexpected twist that will require your dedication and commitment to a decision that will increase the quality of your life. We can surmise that may mean saying what you mean and not pushing your emotions away, with the purpose of freeing you from the baggage and making room for new information. And Neptune 27 Pisces is taking action around healing that will make us more compassionate and empathetic. But both are retrograde, so it's important to remember that this is not simply about reacting to surface level situations. Although you can use that as a gateway to really see and face some of the underlying difficult issues. This energy is assisting you in addressing the issues that have been under the surface the whole time. They're not surprises at this point, even though they probably are the ones you purposely don't want to look at. Just be selective with how you approach it. You want to be direct about what's not working and assess your willingness to do what you need to do to fix what you're accountable for within the imbalance that got you here. And yes, this includes taking responsibility for where you have buried emotions and feelings. What you do in this energy can have really far reaching implications. Because please remember, this energy is directly supporting your healing. You can't get it wrong, but you can make the process harder than it has to be. And that would look like fighting what is. As the South Node shifts into Virgo in January, we'll be faced with letting go of anything that's taking us out of body and dissociating from our emotions is a huge part of that. That's why all the stuff I mentioned earlier about nervous system regulation is an important cheat code for this energy. Because we want to be here in this human experience more. Part of how we created the imbalance is by trying to escape and transcend our humanness. But the way we heal our nervous system is the same as the way it got dysregulated. It's through experience. Building new worlds doesn't come from something above us. It's not outside of our body. It's through and within us. I'm sorry to all the woo girls and boys out there, but transcendence is not about leaving. It's not about mental gymnastics. It's about staying, it's about facing, it's about experiencing. Mostly, it's about being. And I know for me right now, the divide between doing, chasing, and actually being and embodying is really exposed right now in this energy. Now, this second yod deepens the perspective. The point is Venus 23 Scorpio, exposing root issues, but with the purpose of bringing light and balance and love to them, and with some additional nuances. Shadow work is tough, especially for Venus, who is a receiver. So this yod at the moment isn't about her doing the work, but rather, in this moment, she gets to receive the benefits of transformation and understanding and communication through the facing of shadows, and the base will show us exactly how. Here we have Jupiter now retrograde at 21 Gemini, and our friends Chiron and Aries. So we already know Chiron and Aries is our warrior energy of empowerment to protect our vulnerability. And I think that's really impactful, especially in the area of boundaries and communication that Venus is working through in Scorpio right now. Something has to change, and that Chiron energy holds the action to make it happen. On the other side, we have Jupiter at 21 Gemini. So it's the power of expansion of beliefs through receiving and processing new information. But it's now in retrograde too. So there's a reevaluation happening right now around informations and beliefs as a whole. During this retrograde, you may find yourself revisiting, introspecting, and reevaluating beliefs, communication styles, and social connections. It's inviting us to explore different perspectives, learn from past experiences, and creatively express ourselves, while at the same time addressing communication challenges that may arise as our locus of belief begins to shift. That internal shift will inevitably impact your relationships and expose things that were previously safely covered up and tucked away by the veil of unconsciousness. So yes, that means situations that are vulnerably being exposed, especially if you've been actively trying to bury them. So obviously this all works towards the goals of Venus and Scorpio. The orchestration of this is so divinely guided, it's as beautifully poetic as Venus herself. Now, before we end this episode, I would be remiss if I didn't mention that this chart is pulled to the minute of when Pluto goes direct. So we have all of these energies working hard to give us direction and trying to show us how to proceed as we move into a new generation of Pluto's rebirth. It is absolutely no coincidence that Pluto in Capricorn is conjunct Moon at 4 Aquarius. So let me repeat that. The moment Pluto goes direct to make its final ascent out of Capricorn, it's sharing space in the sky with the Moon, the ruler of our emotions, in the sign that Pluto is moving into. while all of these energies are orchestrating a grand design of instructions for us. Like, whoa. So the moon moves fast, so you might be wondering, why is this so meaningful? Well, moon is our luminary of emotions. So that obviously lines up with the energies of this chart. I see it like a cheat code to the first order of action that will assist in the transition of Pluto from Capricorn's commitment to hard work into Aquarian's air energy of frequency alignment. It's at the Uranus degree, and Uranus is the ruler of Aquarius, so it's essentially doubling down on disruption to support transformation around the concepts of emotional wellness and nervous system regulation as primary drivers. But in classic 29-degree Capricorn conjunct Moon with Uranian influences, this can present as unexpected situations that invoke emotional disruptions. Pluto isn't the energy to sit you down and have a chat. It's going to throw you into the exact shadow that it wants you to clear. But please do not jump into the lower octave of Aquarius and dissociate. That is the exact opposite approach from what will provide long-term growth. The actual point is to face the difficult emotions. Now, please realize the purpose behind this is to show us how to work through the energies. It's not an attack, nor is it bad luck. It's how all of these energies are working together to tell a story, teach a lesson, and essentially clear us out of repeating frequencies that are not future forward. Because the energy is still in Capricorn at 29 degrees. Pluto isn't going out quietly. It wants to be really accountable and committed to where we need to be within our understanding and processing of ourselves, so we can walk into the new energy ready to change the fucking world. Because when that transition to Aquarius happens in mid-November, it's not going to slip in quietly either. This is generational redirection happening in real time. So when looking at this chart as a whole, with Pluto conjunct Moon as part of the Cardinal Grand Cross, I have to read and respect that as a big red energetic pause sign in the sky. I wanted to say stop sign, but this energy doesn't want us to stop. It wants us to evaluate and choose differently. It wants us to be willing to step out of the pattern of hijacked emotions and triggers. And that's kind of a tall order, but it's also not a surprise. We've been working towards this in bits and pieces for a long time. The opening of consciousness comes with the awareness of injustice and disharmony. That's South Node Libra, the things we are letting go of. But how can we do that broadly if we haven't yet done it within ourselves? The energies of much of this chart are third decan. It's about the collective and transforming society. But that moon is in the first decan. It starts within us, with our emotions, with our nervous systems. It starts with us facing our shit, with finding and bringing light and healing to all of the ways that we've complacently allowed injustice and dysregulation in our own lives and bodies. Because we were scared, because the tension is uncomfortable, because it triggers our wounds. The next few weeks won't be energetically easy. These oppositions, T-squares, crosses, there's going to continue to be a lot as we move through and complete the North Node in Aries transit and take power back to the people. Underneath it all, remember the direction and support of the yods and the trines. Our commitment to getting through this pocket is not only supported, but it holds really deep importance to building a more peaceful, authentic, and harmonious future. So if you're looking forward to that as much as I am, we get to walk through this together. So let it flow, 'cause it won't stop. Thank you so much for joining me today and watching this episode and trusting my guidance. As part of my mission to follow my bliss and concurrently be of service to others, I'd love to help you crack the code of your own astrological chart and uncover the hidden guidance within it. Whether you're interested in live readings, written analysis, or even personalized videos like this one tailored to your specific chart, I'm here to support your journey. Stay connected with me by subscribing here on YouTube and give me a follow on Instagram for regular cosmic insights and content. Plus, check out my website for some fun, customizable astro merch and gifts to rep your unique astrological code. And remember, let it flow, because it won't stop.